Boundaries can really come down to two extremes. On the one hand, letting anyone treat you however they feel. It's like having a house and a garden and no fence around it and just letting everyone walk across your garden and walk on your plants, walk through all the beautiful things that you have created in your garden. Now, the other is that you have super firm boundaries and you really send out this "don't mess with me" energy. But the way that you keep those boundaries is by keeping your heart closed. So it's like having this very high barbed wire fence around your house and no one can ever come in and you can't come out. That's not nice either. So that's why we are going to talk in this video how you can keep firm boundaries while keeping your heart open. So let's begin to talk about what is boundaries. Boundaries is really standards for how you want to be treated, to feel good. And no one can decide your boundaries but you. It's not something intellectual that you can read in a book and know like, okay, these are my boundaries. It's something experiential. It needs to come from your lived experience. And as my dear friend Lauren says, unconditional love does not equal unconditional tolerance. And that is a concept that we will break down now because so many people confuse those two things. And they think that the way to show love to other people is to allow for other people to treat them the way that these people want to treat them, no matter how you feel about them. And I have definitely been there, and that is why I'm so passionate to share about this topic. Because this is not the way the world works, amigos. This is not a healthy way of relating. Because what happens if you have no boundaries? It's like you are a battery. This is your battery, and if your battery is full from the beginning and you don't have boundaries, your battery will leak. Because that's what happens when you allow for people to overstep your boundaries. And yes, I use the word allow for because you are the one deciding whether or not people will trespass and disrespect your boundaries. So imagine if you don't have any boundaries, you will slowly start to leak energy. That's why some people talk about energy thieves or about energetic parasites, because you will get depleted and the battery will be empty. So what do you have to give to the world after that? If you're so much about love and caring about others, you don't have any energy left to give to everyone around you, because maybe it's this one specific person in your life who is taking all this energy. So in what way is that a loving thing to do from you? And in what way is that sustainable? It is not. Because this is the recipe for disaster and also for codependency. Healthy, sustainable relationships of all kind consist of two people who have their batteries filled and full, who can then create together. So imagine I have another little battery here, and create a bigger energy that is twice as big and even more some, because co-creation has an element of magic to it. But it's just pure logic, like two full batteries together gives more energy than a depleted battery, because the other battery is taking energy to be able to be full. So it's never about needing relationships, it's about wanting. It should always be two people with full batteries wanting a relationship. Because the truth is that you are whole and complete as you are, on your own. And if we get into these patterns of codependency, which is what will happen if you don't have any boundaries, is that you will somehow expect something in return. And you and the other person get really entrenched in each other and dependent on each other. And especially in romantic relationships, it can lead to depending on one single person for all your emotional needs, which is not a healthy thing once again, because that's too much pressure on another person. It is your responsibility to fill your battery. And the way you fill your battery is by imposing and maintaining firm boundaries. So boundaries are determined by how much you are available for others, how much you are available to give physically, and by that I mean in the shape of doing services, of doing favors for others, of being there for others more physically, but also emotionally. And one example where it can be healthy to set boundaries in the second case is if someone is always complaining for you, and they're just using you as a trash bag to complain and to just tell yourself how much you are a victim and how sorry you should feel for them and how everything is just unfair and they're the only person suffering in the world. And this doesn't mean that you shouldn't have compassion. Of course you should have compassion, but you probably know the kind of relationship dynamic that where the other person is not really interested in you or in your life, and they're not interested in actually finding a constructive solution to whatever they're going through, because they have internalized this sense of being a victim so much that the only thing they want is someone to feel sorry for them and to bond over that shared sense of misery, really. That is something that's usually very draining, at least to me. That kind of dynamic does not work for me. And that is when I put up my boundaries. And boundaries is something that we often become aware about as we grow and heal and do the so-called inner work. As we become more self-aware, we also start to notice, hey, when I'm around this person, I always feel tired, I always feel drained, like I'm not looking forward at all to being around them. It may be someone, like a friend, someone in your family, a colleague. That is the way that you know that, okay, I need to set firmer boundaries with this person. So once again, I can't tell you when is it time to set boundaries, when is it not time to set boundaries. Your body is so intelligent that your emotions will tell you. Your energetic state will tell you. And another sign, another red flag that it's time to set boundaries in this relation is if you feel continuously disrespected. And when you try to bring it up with that person, they don't listen to you. Or they're just telling you, oh, you're just overreacting, you're just oversensitive. And they basically telling you that you are the problem. So how can you set firm boundaries while keeping your heart open? Step 1 is to identify where you lack boundaries. And I think for many of us, there is a specific relationship or maybe a couple of relationships that come up either now or in the past where you need or needed to pose firmer boundaries. When you have identified that, okay, I don't feel good around this person, I feel like I'm constantly being disrespected, I feel like I'm leaking energy, my battery is running out. The second step is to ask yourself and to get clear on how would you want this dynamic to look instead? How would you want this relation to be? What would the ideal dynamics be? How would you feel around this person? Then the third step is to communicate your boundaries. And here is where things get interesting. It's actually possible to communicate your boundaries energetically without pronouncing them. The way you do that is that you get back into your own energy and you just declare your intention. And there are meditations, you can look here on YouTube and find meditations on boundaries. But really get back into your own energy, raise your own energetic frequency, increase your aura. What often happens is that the situation will magically solve itself because we communicate beyond the 5 senses with people and they will feel a difference in your energy. And I haven't tried this directly, but I have tried this kind of indirectly by doing loving kindness meditation. This was at an old workplace and I felt some friction with 2 colleagues. So I did a loving kindness meditation. This was just after my spiritual awakening, so I love to experiment with these kind of things. I was just spending the whole night doing different kinds of meditations and things. And I sent love and kindness to these 2 people in particular. And the following day at work, they were both so kind to me, like never before. And I was like, it works! They really sense the energetic difference. But I haven't tried it in more deeper relationships. But that's definitely something I would start with, like call back your energy, get back into your own space, maybe look up how to do it if you can't hear what your intuition is telling you. The second way of communicating our boundaries is probably what most people think of, and that is telling the person face to face. Hey, this is not okay. So it's really about confronting the person and telling them, I am not okay with this, I don't feel good when you do this. You can tell them directly or indirectly. Now, what often happens if that person is not on a super high level of consciousness, and I doubt that this dynamic would have been installed in the first place if you are on the same level of consciousness often, the people who continuously overstep your boundaries are at a lower level of consciousness. And what will happen then is that they will get mad at you because they experience that they lose a privilege that they have had, which is using you in some way that didn't feel good to you. Maybe having you constantly doing things for them, even if you're tired, you don't feel like doing it, you have enough of your own things. They just rely on you, they just count on you to do things for them. Or maybe you were the person that they went to vent all their emotional problems and all the issues, and they didn't care if you were available for that. And they didn't take any responsibility or accountability to solve the situation. They just wanted your compassion and you to tell them how sorry you are for them. If you were in any of those dynamics, a probable reaction is that a person can get mad at you and they can point it back to you and tell you that you are the villain in this situation and you are the one doing something wrong. Because probably what they have done also, subconsciously, is that they have seen this trait of you to overgiving, to constantly be there for them, no matter what, no matter how you feel, as a part of your personality. And they will tell you, you've changed, as if it were a bad thing. But yes, you have changed. You have more self-respect, you have more self-love, you have more self-awareness, and that is why you became aware of these boundaries and call back your energy so that it can be more available for all relationships in your life. So this is where it's so important for you to stay solid and firm in your boundaries and not let yourself be swayed, because this person will probably try to manipulate you emotionally, even if it's not conscious, and they will try to make you feel guilty for doing this and be like, oh no, but it's okay, I can do it just this one time, and it's okay, you can keep making fun of me in front of other people, if you feel like doing it, it's okay, I don't care. That's what can happen if you don't stay firm in your boundaries, and I don't want that, because now you are aware of them, and you just have to trust that when you claim your boundaries and communicate them and stand firm in them, it is the best possible outcome for everyone involved. Because what this will happen is that this will take this person out of their victimhood, where they have probably been their entire life, and it will invite them to rise, to actually take responsibility for their lives. And it's doing them a disservice to let them be in that low state of depending on other people all the time. So you're actually helping them to be more responsible and to be more in their power and to rise, to raise their vibration, which probably no one has ever done before. Because the absolutely worst thing that you can do is to stay in this toxic dynamic, because your battery will be empty. You won't have anything to give to other people, to the world, and you came here. You incarnated here on earth because you have a gift. You have so much to give to others. You matter and you make such a difference. So, as much as possible, just stay firm in your boundaries. I believe in you. I know that you're strong and that you can do it. So, the actions that you can take after you have communicated your boundaries is that you have the right to limit the time that you spend around this person. You don't have a responsibility to be there for them. You don't have a responsibility to see them at a certain frequency, especially not if they disrespect you completely, if they get mad at you, if they don't respect your new boundaries. Because remember, you are not responsible for healing or saving anyone. Only you can heal yourself. That's so important, because we have been told the opposite. So that we can all get entrenched into these codependent patterns and we lose our power, because when we are powerless, we're easily manipulated. And if it's needed, you have the right also to break contact with this person. Remember that this is the thing that will invite them to finally step up. And I believe that loyalty can be something very beautiful. It can be beautiful if you are in a conscious relationship where both parts have the intention to actually work through things. Because no one is perfect. This is not about being perfect, about never being human and complaining about things, about never accidentally disrespecting someone. It is about really having the commitment and the devotion to respect each other and to listen to each other without taking it personally. And that is the only kind of relationships that I am interested in. So loyalty can be very beautiful in that container. But when one person is very committed and very aware and ready to meet the other person halfway, and the other is not at all ready to compromise, that's when loyalty becomes toxic, because it's not mutual. So when you have more loyalty for others than for yourself, you are lacking self-love. And that means that you're really lacking the foundation for being a healthy and happy human. Even if you think that it's a beautiful thing and that you're doing good in the world, remember that your dreams, your desires, they won't go away. And if you constantly keep letting other people step over you and tell you what to do and just leak your energy and drain your energy, you won't have any energy left for your dreams. And you'll end up bitter and resentful. So it won't end in a good way, even if you are this good and compassionate human. The only good outcome is if you prioritize yourself. Because the more you let other people drain your energy, the larger the gap between your full potential as a human being and where you are actually living. And you know what fills this gap? Bitterness and resentment. So you have the choice. You always have the choice. But remember that this toxic loyalty and lack of boundaries, no one wins. Really, no one wins, because that person that is being toxic on you and draining your energy, they are staying in their lower vibration, and now they have pulled you down to their level. And think about it, even if you feel like you're doing this person a favor, sooner or later you will feel the bitterness and the resentment if you are at all in touch with your emotions, which I know that you are if you're watching this video. And it doesn't feel good for the other person either, because it's like if someone does you a service. Imagine that someone is inviting you to dinner and they say, hey, you can come to dinner, I'm gonna fix everything for you, you can just come and sit down, I am really doing this, I really want to do this for you. And you say, thank you, that's beautiful, I'm open to receive this. And then you come to the dinner and they are mad at you and they're telling you, oh, you know, my whole day was ruined because I needed to cook this dinner for you and I put all this money in preparing the food and oh, I haven't had time to do anything and now my life is ruined because I needed to make this dinner for you. Would you feel good in that dinner and be like, oh, thank you so much? No, you probably would feel guilty and you will feel like, oh, but you didn't have to do it. You were the one telling me. You were the one inviting me. And that is how it feels when people are doing things to you, but it is actually surpassing their boundaries. And then you may think, but where does compassion and helping other people come in? Are we never gonna help other people? Of course. But where do you think you can help people most? If your energy is down there because you keep just giving to everyone else, or if you have filled your own battery, then you can give to a lot of people around you. Your energy will just multiply when it is this high, when it's at its full power. It will just magnify and multiply and amplify. And you will be able to do so much more good in the world than if you're constantly drained, right? It's really as if you have a bucket of water and there is a hole in it. No matter how much water you pour in it, it will never be full. When you have that full bucket, you can give glasses of water to everyone around you. And the thing is that when your batteries are full, when your bucket of water is full, it is just human nature that you will want to give to others. You will want to help others. And one example you see is me sitting here and now. I am not getting paid anything for sitting here and recording videos. I am doing it because I have come so far in my journey, in my healing journey, and I know how it is to feel constant anxiety and feeling so bad and feeling like you have to control life and overthinking and your default state is really so low. And you almost ask yourself, why am I here on earth? Like, is there a reason to be here? And the state that I am in right now, it is so much higher and I feel so much more empowered. So I know that this transition is possible. But me having gone through this transition from feeling anxious on the daily to feeling so good and overflowing and grounded and anchored in love, it makes me want to share this with all of you. It makes me want to take on my time and sit and do these things for free. Because at least at the time of filming this, my channel is not monetized yet. So this is an example. When you feel good, you want to help other humans. You don't need to force it to happen. You don't need someone to come and beg and drag in your clothes for it to happen. It'll be a natural side effect of you having your batteries full. And this is also where the open heart come in. Because when you are in a place where your vibration is high, you feel like your energy is very contained in you, it will be easier to say no without drama, but still keeping your heart open and not needing to like push people away or getting angry or yell at them or mark your boundaries in a way that is not in alignment with love. But you will just say no thanks, and people will respect that. So if this resonated with you and you feel like, yeah, I probably have one or a couple of relationships where I need to pose firmer boundaries, I have a few questions that you can think about, maybe journal around, maybe talk to someone about, but I really want you to reflect on this yourself first before you share. So if we focus on one relationship, keep this person in mind. We can call them person X. What is the biggest fear around setting boundaries with person X? What is the worst thing that can happen? What is the best thing that can happen? How would it feel energetically to get rid of this energetic leakage that you have to this person? And what would be possible for you from this new, higher energy? So think of that, and let me know in the comments if this resonated, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and see you in the next. Yeah.